Hello friends, how are you all? Hope you are doing great at various aspects of your lives. Welcome to another book review podcast by Team ThinkerViews. Today we are going to talk about Finding Arun by Marisha Pink. Have you ever tried exploring your way of living from a foreigner's perspective? If yes, then you must have found it strange. Based on the place, environment, and social setup we got a chance to grow up and live in, our personality takes a shape. Outsiders may find it strange, but then, more often than not, the feelings are mutual, right? We were intrigued by the book title, Finding Arun, and thus we wanted to explore the story and was curious about how the author has explored the foreign and Indian cultures from her perspective. Let us take a look at the cover page of the book. The book cover plays the role of a gateway to the virtual world explored in the book, or for that matter, any other media, and thus is a very important part of the book. However, we must not judge a book only by its cover. We cannot deny its influence on many reading and or purchase decisions. Finding Arun is a story of finding one's roots, one's true self, one's real identity. As you can see, the cover page of the book is quite interesting. Being grown up in London, the protagonist explores India and Indian culture mostly from Puri, a town in Odisha, a famous place for pilgrimage for Hindu devotees for Lord Jagannatha's temple. The cover page shows an illustration of a traditional Indian pilgrimage place. You can see a water body, and in the background you can notice the Jagannath temple, a very authentic and interesting illustration. Overall, I like the design of the cover page, including the choice of colors. Let us take a bird's eye view of the book plot. In London, a lady met with her death and the world turned upside down for her son, Aaron. Of course, his father Arthur and Aunt Ruby fill the same void. However, being mature persons, it is comparatively easy for them to keep themselves composed, at least from outside. Aaron is an introvert teenager who doesn't like to socialize much. His rapport with Arthur was also out of synchronization. It would be better to say that they were not speaking to each other unless it is extremely necessary. Arthur tried his best to break the ice between them, but Aaron found it difficult. Aunt Ruby is an anchor for both of them. When cleaning up his late mother's study, Arun found some letters from an unknown lady from India. The lady was found pleading to his late mother to let her see her son once. Who is the lady and who is her son? Did his mother know about them? Why hadn't she allowed them to meet and provided more details about the son to the lady? Why his mother never uttered a word about it to him, or even to Arthur? Arthur was also unaware of any such information. The boy, the lady, Kalpana, was referring is Arun. But who is Arun? Are Arun and Arun the same person? Is it why his physical appearance resembles more with the people from Indian ethnicity living there? Arun decided to find the correct answers. And what is the best way to get them if not visiting the lady in person? Well, he needs to pay a visit to India for that. Aaron grew up in a typical British environment and hasn't visited a foreign land like India so far. Will he actually visit India? What will he find here? Well, the answers are better to get from the book. Most of the incidents in the book takes place in Britain and India, especially Puri and nearby villages. Over the course of the story, we meet Aaron, Arthur, Aunt Ruby, Anara, Lucky, Kalpana, Rajubhai Joshi, Naresh, Chandni, Prakash, and others. As said earlier, the book explores the journey of a person who tried to find his roots, and it goes through a cultural crossover. If such books interest you, and if you would like to explore the Indian way of living from a foreigner's point of view, this book is a worthy choice. Is a quote from the book in the same regards. The warmth of the sun's rays gently caressed Arun's eyelids through the window, and even with his eyes closed, he could see the hazy yellow and orange hue of the morning. Being a textual medium, storytelling through books challenges the author when it comes to depicting emotions. Marisha has done it beautifully at various places in the book, like he swallowed hard, willing himself not to cry, but silent tears pooled in the corners of his eyes and began to roll stealthily down his cheek. You may disagree with various points of view about Indian way of living explored in the book, but you need to remember that it is seen from an outsider's perspective. It would always be different. In fact, when we view foreign countries and their ways of living, we will have our own perceptions. In cultural crossovers, actually, this is the main element, and the author tells in the book itself, of course, via a character. Anyone else might have been offended by Jez's comment, but Aaron knew that they were born more out of ignorance than malice. Arun laughed harder at this ridiculous portrait of a proper Indian from India. The book contains some really thoughtful lines about love. Because love is blind, Arun. Sometimes it stops us from seeing things as they really are, stops us from seeing things that we don't want to see. When you love someone that much, it's hard to watch them waste away before your eyes, to watch them become a mere shadow of a person that they used to be. When Arun comes to India, he sees a totally different lifestyle than what he has been living so far. Of course, there are a significantly higher number of people living in the same geographical area when you compare the population of India to the same of Britain. More importantly, India has geographical versatility too. From snow-clad mountains to burning deserts, from green plains to coastal areas, you see a large number of different geological situations and thus lifestyles too. People here love to wear colorful clothes, live in colorful houses, and enjoy the festivals and live their lives in a cherished manner. Of course, sometimes you consider it as an attack on privacy, but it is the strong bond of humanity and care which keep people concerned about each other. The situation is different in mega cities these days as they started losing the warmth. Some villages and small towns have still maintained the original charm. The protagonist's character explores these things interestingly. He couldn't understand the driver's apparent fascination with his life. Taxi drivers in London were rarely interested in anything that he had to say. His head remained wary of hygiene standards that might have been used during their preparation. Life seemed simplistic, yet wholly satisfying for the people beyond the train. They had nothing compared to what he had back home. But as they went about their morning rituals, there was a contentment evident that was rarely found in the miserable faces of London's busy urbanites. Within the space of 5 minutes, Arun had shaken more hands, learnt and forgotten more names than he had in almost 20 years. But the buzz that surrounded his arrival and the warmth and enthusiasm with which he was welcomed made him feel somewhat like a celebrity returning to his hometown. The book has some sarcasm and verbal fights that you will enjoy reading. Like, do you think I am being stubborn? Of course you are being stubborn, but don't worry, it's a family trait. You will enjoy reading the exploration of the Jagannath Rath Yatra event and got to know a lot of the things about it. You will enjoy the emotional episode of boat ride too. If you are an emotional person, the book has many incidents that make you connect with them. Here is an example. Her eyes watering with the threat of tears that seemed too afraid of her to fall. The author got many things wrong. 19 is not considered as a marriageable age for youth. Leave some rare cases and you will not find such incidents. The book has some such limitations. Actually, there are more quotes I can mention and more attributes of the book we can talk about. I want to avoid them intentionally. The main aim here is to avoid as many spoilers as possible, and the quotes mentioned earlier are good enough to give you a fair idea of what kind of writing you can expect from the book. There are some life lessons the book is conveying through simple yet effective words. If I need to choose only one small block of writing from the book, I would love to settle with the following. The more that he thought about it, the more he realized that even money couldn't guarantee anyone a happy ending. People, not things, were what counted, and when it had mattered, the journey of the protagonist is inspirational. Ignore some superlative stuff and coincidences, and you will find the touch of reality in the book. So, what is the conclusion? Well, overall, an emotional and moderately good book about self realization and cultural crossover. It has its own limitations, but a serious reader will find it interesting for sure. ThinkerViews rating around 7 stars out of 10. So, have you already read the book? Are you planning to read it? What do you think about this book review? Do you find it helpful in deciding whether to go for the book or not? Please do share your genuine remarks via comments below. If you have enjoyed listening to the review, please hit the like button and do not forget to share it with your friends and other fellows whom you think such reviews interest more. Till we meet with our next podcast, bye bye, take care, namaskar.